So you know how like, or I don't know if your experience is like this, but in the winter, I know I live in LA, but I fucking hate winter, or I hate the time change, like it getting darker earlier. It's like really depressing to me. Some people call it like seasonal depression or whatever. It doesn't even feel like that to me. It's like something else that happens that drives me fucking crazy. And I spend like November and December like trying to surrender and doing all the things on the list that like technically count as surrendering, but it usually doesn't hit me until like the actual end of December or January that I actually surrender, and it feels like my entire world is falling apart. And this happens every year, so you'd think I would get used to it, but I'm not, and I fucking hate it just as much every time. So I'm in the middle of, I call it a contraction sometimes, vulnerability hangover, and something else. I don't know what else this is, but it's like super fucking tender. And as I'm actually surrendering, which doesn't mean like intellectualizing my surrender and actually trying to tell, like, I'm surrendering to the universe. Like, see, I'm doing all the things that count as surrendering. So the thing underneath that is like when you're actually just like, oh, fuck, I'm not in control. Okay, I'm letting go. My body is making me rest. The world is making me rest. Things are leaving that are part of whatever it is that's making way for whatever is coming. There's like an insane amount of tenderness here. And it's like so uncomfortable for me to be tender because it's so vulnerable. And I just feel like I wanted to say that because I know I'm not the only person feeling this, and I still don't have like all the right words for it. But it's like this almost like nauseating amount of tenderness. It's not a trauma response. It's not something leaving. It's like something coming out. And it's so fucking tender. And at each layer where I think like, okay, this is like how much I am supposed to surrender, or like, okay, I'm pretty sure like I found the end of it, there's just like more. So I wanted to take a second to make some space for me and make some space for you in this space where it's like, and you can tell I keep touching my heart. It's like so heart-centery to me. So I wondered if you want to join me in just like breathing in and around this tender space to just kind of soften the outsides for it so it doesn't have to hurt so much as it takes up more space. So kind of like, I like to think about it as like making padding or like more space around the space so it can feel safe to come out more. And to ease, like, I can always feel myself like trying not to feel the feeling. So it's like I'm trying to like sit up straight or like hold my head in a weird way because I'm like, I'm feeling it and it's just over here. But to really like integrate it into your whole thing, your body, your energetic field, embodiment, all that stuff. So if you want to join me, let's do hands on heart. That feels right now. And try not to do anything crazy with your breath. So don't try to force it or do all these like really big, beautiful yogic breaths or like intentional breaths. Just let your breath, actually, let's do this. Make your breath as quiet as you could get it. So we're going to breathe in and out through your nose and see how silent you can make your breath. Good. And right away, I notice like I can feel that something really big wants to come out. And it's like it's a good thing, but it's so big, it kind of scares me. Like I can feel my body feeling a little bit scared of it. So if that resonates with you, you don't have to be ready for the thing to come up and out. You can actually have boundaries with it. So just kind of tuning in, like, do you want that thing to come up and out, or do you have a boundary for it, or you just want to stay here and breathe? Do you need to take a break? And then if you feel like it, start to just softly send your breath just around the tenderness, making like a little soft, I'm almost imagining like, you know, at those like trampoline parks or like a ball pit or like something with like padded walls or like a bounce house where it's like safe and soft all the way around and you're not going to like fall off or fall over. It's just like nice and cushy all the way around. And then seeing if there's anything the tenderness needs from you to feel safe. And all I get is just go slow. And instead of judging that voice or rolling my eyes, I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I'm listening to you. And so seeing if instead of judging or getting annoyed at what the answer is, you can just kind of validate and hold space for whatever the answer is. And then if you want to give your tenderness a hug or an I love you or an I'll be back to check on you later. And when you're ready to come back, you can come back. And I notice this in a lot of work that I do, both for myself and with clients, is we have this thing where it's like, especially people who are good at doing emotional work or have done trauma work or somatics or inner child work or anything like that, it's like we're so good at intellectualizing and identifying the feeling and like figuring out the why, or we have these different kind of frames of lenses to look through: psychology, energy work, Reiki, yoga, like however we look, whatever lens we're looking through, it can really easily become like a brain thing and less of a body thing or like an actually feeling the thing. And this is important because thinking about a feeling is not the same as feeling a feeling. And so what I'm practicing, and I've had to go like really back to the basics at the beginning of the year, like I always do, I get like completely humbled and just kind of like put on my ass of just like, take it back to the very beginning of all the things you've ever learned, which actually gets harder and harder for me the more that I know, because it becomes so easy for me to understand through these different lenses and to rely on using my head instead of my body. So what I'm trying to say in all of this is, instead of intellectualizing or sort of pulling out this part of you and looking at it on like a table where you're dissecting it and analyzing it and making descriptions and descriptors and reasons and sort of like why-ness around the thing, it's like cutting out a part of yourself and putting it on the table and talking about it instead of inviting it in and actually feeling it. And I know how intense and uncomfortable it can feel to want to invite a feeling in, especially when it's uncomfortable. Like it's a feeling you don't want to feel. I don't have time to feel it. I don't want to feel it. That makes me feel weak. That makes me feel vulnerable. That makes me feel not good. I want to go play and have fun and like do anything else but this. But the sooner that I'm able to stop and invite it in, the sooner I actually get back to feeling how I want to feel. So all of this to say, if there's a place where maybe you're over intellectualizing or trying to ignore or kind of pull out and fix this part of you outside of yourself, maybe today we can just invite it in and that's it. Like Stop trying to change it. Stop trying to decide what to call it. Just say, you can be here. You can stay. And you can stay for as long as you want to. So, random mid-workday thoughts with me and wanted to share. And thanks for watching.